To Emuna is our future with diverse respect. Today we're doing a special class from our home in Yerushalayim, Ira Kodesh. Being that it is the holiday time in the Holy Land, I'm happy that we are able to go live on our Facebook and YouTube for Breslov English. Thankfully, my wife right now is out with the kids, so we're going to have hopefully a bit of quiet here. And we have the opportunity together to journey through another week of the Sheva Shabbos of Nechomta, of comfort. We already introduced them the last few weeks. Specifically, last week we managed to make it back. Thank God to your prayers and everyone else's from London. It was a successful trip. I'm still internalizing how in a few days I was able to, thank God, see so many people, such amazing people, and touch base and do so much in a few days. And today I just checked, unfortunately there's an increase, and you guys and all of us together, we need to keep getting Emuna Global to get rid of this Corona challenge, because unfortunately the rules have already changed and people who are coming back from places like UK need to come back this week. Otherwise it's going to be a very serious quarantine and etc. So we really need to pray, step up our prayer for the love of all people, as Rav Arush's beautiful campaign. We already promoted that in our previous class, and I want you guys to get in touch. The links are below, how to order those little campaign booklets and get them out there. And the main thing is to listen to the classes, Rav Arush in our Emuna class playlist, where he spoke so importantly and beautifully about how we should be internalizing these three recent tragedies and what we should be doing about it. If you go to our website, there's also some wonderful articles about this, Emuna articles, and we appreciate all our team for putting them out there even during this holiday time. And for me personally, I'm hoping to get another few days away coming up just to get the head straight and see a few more people in Israel. But thank God it will be here in the Holy Land. And then hopefully in the new week we'll have some great classes with Rav Arush. We're still to announce who the special guest is on Sunday night. The few of the names that are coming up is Reuven Garber. I don't know if you guys have touched base with him, but he's part of a beautiful band that I've been following for years from South Africa, Derech Achim, and he's now been solo the last few years, and he's put out some beautiful songs like Aye, which we did post on our Breslov website and platform, and you guys should check it out. Reuven Garber, hopefully he'll be our guest on Sunday. He has made Aliyah to the Holy Land, so this is a premature announcement, but a hopeful announcement with prayers and hope that we'll keep having these wonderful guests that will keep joining us for our Emuna classes of Rav Arush. Another just announcement before we get into the class of diverse respect. Yeah, respect is due, guys, that we have the opportunity to give a lot of love and appreciation to Hashem Yisbarach, who's giving us the opportunity to continue as we round off Tafshin Pei Aleph. What a year, a Peladik year. Pella, literally, in so many ways, personally, and also for the world. And it looks like we're going to be ending it in a challenging way. But the good news is, not only did I make it to England, but my artist and one of my main artists for Unity Bookings made it to the US, Nissan Black. And he did, Shalom from Sydney, Australia. He did a wonderful concerts so far in Deal, New Jersey. Like, so we had the Deal with Nissan Black, and also Camp La Vie. And there's going to, please God, be a big show this Thursday night. Whoever's in the Passaic, New Jersey area, New York, you can go see Nissan Black in his biggest performance in years. It's going to be in the Factory 220, Factory 220. And it's a big deal. Go check it out. Just Google Factory 220 and Nissan Black, and you better get the tickets or go to our platforms. Big opportunity to touch base with Nissan Black's wonderful energy in the US. And please God, he'll make it back safely and easily back to the US, to Eretz Yisrael, to Eretz Kodesh. Because one of the things we're hopefully going to be doing, and I've mentioned this before, is this beautiful feature video for Zion Orphanage. And there's so many other projects. Obviously, he needs to get back to his family as well. Personally, I was thinking of traveling to the US, but I might have to put that on hold depending on what's going to be before the end of Elul. And the other opportunity also is the Emuna Tour. We're still discussing that with our hosts and exactly how that's all going to work out for October for the in-person tour of Arush. Once again, I still have not yet booked the flights because, just every minute just waiting to see what the updates are, and hopefully there'll be travel. But, we have to give it a little bit like this time, this tour, a little bit more process and everything will work out smoothly. Hopefully this Corona challenge, this new challenge, this Delta one, with tefillahs, with prayers, we'll be able to turn it around into a very positive time, and hopefully we won't end up in lockdown. We won't end up during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot, the special Yom Tovim. We won't end up, God forbid, like being locked out from our shuls like previous times, and hopefully we'll be able to be there and together and share this special time coming up. Elul, ani l'dodi v'dodi li, a lot of love. So how is this class continuing last week? Because last week we spoke about relationships, we spoke about emotional strength, and we're very into the idea that melody brings, and music and Emuna and all the teachings we're doing in this beautiful platform gives us that ability to strengthen ourselves. So because emotional strength, emotional stamina, funny enough, is something that, everything's divine providence. My wife and I have been discussing in my soulmate with the United Souls podcast and Flow and Relationship Flow podcast. You check it out, the link's below. You should give a listen because it's the first time I hosted my wife on a public platform, and it was very inspirational to hear our conversation, and for me anyway, especially the first class with the intro that we went ahead and just did it. Very important to be proactive, get stuff done. And last week we spoke about emotional stamina, which fits perfectly the picture that we use for this class, the idea that melody, it gives you emotional strength. So too, by talking out and regrouping, as my wife so wisely put it, gives you ability to develop emotional strength. And that was the idea. We went out to go meet some people in Herzliya. We were, after a whole crazy long day, like, came back from London and managed to get a class out, managed to get this podcast done and that podcast, but we hadn't yet done our Relationship Flow podcast, and we were on our way to Herzliya, and it just wasn't going to happen because there was so much traffic. It was at that rush hour time at the end of the week, so we decided to pull over to the closest mall. And what was that? Mevaseret Zion. Mevaseret Zion was amazingly written in this week's last week's Haftorah in Parshas Nachamu, Shabbos Nachamu, Parshas Veschanan. Shabbat Nachamu has the Haftorah, and it brings down this concept that in Mevaseret Zion your voice will raise, and it specifically uses koilech, her voice will raise. So the divine providence, the Gilui from Hashem, the revelation from Hashem, was that my voice of my wife and soulmate will be raised up. And it was a beautiful concept that I was very inspired by, that not only was it in the Haftorah, but it was also, thank God, it was something which was happening in real time and in Mevaseret Zion, in the place Mevaseret Zion. So it's unbelievable that I've never been there before to this mall, never gone there. That the week that we did this podcast and raised my voice of my wife, her voice raised out, there we were. I mean, you just got to look in the Haftorah every week during these special seven Shabbos and see how Hashem's communicating to all of us with comfort and showing His love towards us. But this week we're going to discuss the idea of diverse respect. We already mentioned a little bit last week the idea of unity and diversity, that to have true unity, it's not just about, one group pushing their agenda, another group pushing their agenda, like what's going on online. The real unity is going to take place with diversity, not equity. They keep people, I don't want to be political, I'm just saying it's true. There's no unity coming from equity. That's actually forced collaboration or forced conduct, which doesn't create any unity. That actually creates rebellion, a revolution, and whoever's trying to do that right now in a revolutionary way is just going to create another revolution to go against what they're doing. So it's almost counterproductive. What we really need to do is to attach ourselves to the true principles, the universal principles that bring true unity, that bring out the diversity within us, that we're allowed to be unique and we're allowed to be our own personal journey and personal mission in this world that nobody else can do. And with that special path, we can go through this world. And with that power and energy, we can have the ability to be empowered and have the emotional strength, that's what I'm speaking about, to be able to sing our personal song. Everyone has their own unique niggun, their own unique power and strength and energy and light and message that nobody else in the world has. Everyone has their own chelik, everyone has their own unique portion of the Holy Torah, their own unique spark of godliness that nobody else has. And that's a beautiful concept, that even though Hashem Achad, like I was just thinking up the Torah in Hagba It's when you lift up the Torah, and this Shabbos, I actually did it twice. And each time, and even today when I did for Parsha Zakev, you still see the previous Parsha. So it was, above me was the Shema, Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And that Hashem Echad, that realized that Yichud, that Hashem is one, that inspired me to realize that we're all together, we're in this shul, we're in this place, and we're all unifying under this one thing, the concept of Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, that all the souls, all the neshamas of Yisrael, the Shishim Ribios Osis the Torah, there's 600,000 letters in the Torah, that's the first letters of Yisrael. The idea that Hashem is communicating to us, and all we have to do is listen, Shema Yisrael. And so too with Eikev, Parshas Eikev, we see the power of listening there as well. Even to the small mitzvahs, even to the things that seem not so important. Pay attention to detail, very important to realize. And that's one of the processes that we've brought out in these 7 weeks. In previous years, the idea of being proactive, that's last week, kindness, love. And then this week, begin with end in mind. Attach ourselves to the details, to our goals, to our mission, to our dreams. Attach ourselves to what the purpose is and see it in the details of life, not in the larger picture only, but also in the everyday moment. And through there, building and building more steps in our journey towards fulfilling our purpose and our goal and our unique song. And that comes together with that diversity to respect others. And that's the point of this class. The class today is to realize that there's a whole disconnect, unfortunately, from respect. Basic respect we're talking about right now with all the kids around, respecting your parents. I just went back to London, I got the mitzvah, thank God, to kibbut avim, to respect my parents, and hopefully when I go away for the next few days, just to be able to spend some time with my own family. Hopefully there'll be respect for my kids, and I'll be able to call my parents, thank God, with my children, and do the mitzvah kadem with my children, not just by myself. Halavai, one day it will be in person again. Please God, everyone be able to see their family in person. But the idea of united souls, that you respect other people online, you respect other people generally in the world, globally, you respect other people's ways of life. And right now there's a lack of respect. Without going into details, I mentioned it a little bit last week, but there's all these documentaries and things on Netflix and other places that are showing a lack of respect to the diversity of our people and the nuance and the detail that carries that each person walks around with, and the idea of politics to try and generalize out there different groups and splitting people up. The truth is we have a unique, beautiful mission, and we have to respect that. We have to respect each person's beautiful mission. By the way, there's a lot of wonderful feedback. Let's see if I can say something. Here we go. Yeah, I can say something while I'm live over here. Okay. I do have another phone machine here. Let's see something. There we go. I'm just going to say hi. Done. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. That's my personal account, Eli Goldsmith. But we're here also on Breasts of English and Breasts of Israel on our Facebook. And it's really beautiful that all of us have ability to communicate online and give feedback and give love, but it's with respect. That's one of the important things that I hope that we're doing on our platforms together. And when we comment and we give feedback, it's respect. Now, I respect your time. So I want to waste your time. So I apologize, one, that I was late today because I was just getting ready the room and everything that I should be able to do this year during my holiday time and keep up the content. And no matter what, as we spoke about in the previous class, to be able to keep consistent and devoted to the mission that we have. And so too with the prayer service, we're doing prayers, special prayers now for everybody. That's Rav Arush's wish. And you guys can keep sending me your names. You have the details below. Keep checking the details below. And please God, we're going to have that interactive course. It was delayed because I had to rush to England. So we pushed off that week's class to the bi-weekly class to the 3rd of August. Please God, you can sign up there below in the United Souls course, and there I can talk to you in an interactive way and give specific advice through the Zoom application, and so it's much more interactive and helpful for people. So far, one guy even gave feedback that he's got a TED talk from such a course. Thank God, he's been given over the inspiration and the material that he can form his TED talk that he was planning on doing one day for the police force, without going into details. But the concept of developing yourself, it has to be done in an interactive way, and it has to be done together. So right now, I would ask all of you, in a real way, practical way, is do you have your own melody? This is something someone once told me when I worked. And funny enough, as far off as I was growing up in London from Torah Judaism, even though I was traditional, but I was very far from keeping Shabbos and things like that, I did, thank God, I knew this much. Yeah. By the way, I have a new stand. I don't know if you guys appreciate it on YouTube, but it seems much clearer, thank God. So it's good to get invested in these things. The idea that I was working in a store, record store in London called Loppy Lugs. I don't know if it exists anymore, so I don't mind saying its name, over there in Edgware. And it was a cool thing to do because I was like passing over records to DJs, like massive amount of records and the latest hip hop tracks in those days, R&B. It was in the end of the 90s, you know, before I came to Israel. And I had the merit to work there with some great friends who were also popping in and out, and my brother helped me get the job there through the boss. That was at that time. Anyway, I was working one time, unfortunately, as far as I remember, on Shabbos, which, you know, God forgive me. And a guy came up to me and said two important things. So, would you forgive me that it's a Shabbos Torah, but not on Shabbos that it should have been told? But that's how, you know, that's the pella, the wonder of exile that we're in, that we don't understand exactly why neshamas and souls are put in all different places, and they they don't know much about Torah Judaism, but suddenly they have the opportunity to pull out a spark here, pull out a spark there, even in a place where it's not kilchasa, it's not according to the laws, but somehow we bring out good things from those places. And by the way, there are people out there who are watching videos like mine and putting out heretical, God forbid, claiming that they're heretics and things like that. So no one should take my videos out of context. Obviously, everything's according to halacha and everything's according to Torah, and we have complete Emuna, especially working Rav Arush. We have Emuna in Hashem Echad and in one Hashem, and we in one Torah and Yisrael, K'chibuchu, Deraisa. It's all one. But the concept that those days when I was a young boy, so I'm just giving over, a teenager, I was working in a store, and he told me some beautiful words of wisdom, one of the other guys working there. He said, every single person has a song and a book inside of them. And I took those words, and instead of just, oh yeah, get out of my way, I've got to serve a DJ or something, I thought about it, and it stayed with me till now. So, I'm 41 now, Baruch Hashem, and I'm living in Yerushalayim, the center of the world. I have the merit to sit next to Rav Arush once a week. We apologize last week, it was no class, it was Tisha B'Av, but Baruch Hashem, and this week also with the Rav in Uman. But Baruch Hashem, we put up the playlist. We have 43, 44 classes for you guys to go over, and the coming one this week. But the point was, I took those words of wisdom with me. And everyone has a song, so thank God I've written many songs. I do have an album out there, which I haven't put so much time and energy into recently, because it's all, for me personally, it's been about promoting others, like all the wonderful musicians who come to our class, like Nissan Black, so Daniil, and please God, we hope Ruben Garber, maybe even Isaac and Rubenstein are coming either this week or another week. We'll see who exactly it will be. Eventually Judah Michelle, we mentioned West Side Gravy. There's a bunch of people we'd like to bring, and that reminds me, when I suddenly say West Side Gravy, we have to keep praying for Rudy Rochman, as far as I know, unless someone has an update. Yisrael Ben Simcha and his crew, I don't know if they're still in captivity in Nigeria, but whatever the situation is, everyone should keep praying. We should have good news, share good news. Besoros Tovus, we pray for. Our name is Elio. Elio is Zochel Tov, because he is a good name. He brings good news for all of us. I already made a blessing. I just need to have a little bit of water. And to remember that, would you believe, we're already, this Shabbos, Pashas Mevarachim, Shabbos Mevarachim, already blessing the month of Elul. I can't believe it. We just had Nachamu, we just had Menachem Av, we've been talking about it, but there's this special month of devotion, Ani Dodi V'Dodi Li. So one of the beautiful things that I took on myself when I came to Israel all those years ago during the month of Elul, that I would bring my guitar and keep performing, and I did, and I made an album so that my personal song came alive, and I'd like to keep developing my personal songs and music no matter what. At some point, please God, I'll have a, as they call it, like a second boost of inspiration musically. I don't know what they called. There was a time historically where people were very inspired with creativity and art. Renaissance, yeah. I have a renaissance in my music, but meanwhile I'm so happy to help other musicians. But the second thing is, so create a song, is also to write a book. So personally, I have my United Souls book, and I'm editing it as we speak, and I hope one day to put it out there. But in the meanwhile, it's developing. Just having this book is constantly refining my mission statement, my purpose, what I'm here. And that's the concept, that by developing your own self more and more with your own song and your own soul, and to realize that it's a holy melody. It's not just whatever. It has a kedusha, it has a tahara. It comes from your soul level. And that has the power to give you strength, to give you emotional strength, which we so much need, as we spoke about in my Relationship Flow podcast, the idea of emotional stamina. Everybody right now needs that strengthening with all the challenges going on in the political sense, economic sense. We all need that kind of strengthening. Develop that inner song, that inner knowledge, that inner self. And by writing a book, writing a soul journey, your own journal, your own specific message that you want to share, put out your own content. Don't just be makabel all the time from what the media is putting out there, but don't just receive. Learn how to give content, learn how to share, but learn how to share your message, not just copying and pasting and resharing. I mean, I would love you to reshare my content if it's relevant, but the point of resharing my content is just to inspire other people to share their own. Everyone has their own message. We should fill up the internet with positivity and Emuna global. That's the idea, that when you share one of our posts, put a little comment, say your own little message, your own unique touch. Be bold, be courageous, don't be timid. And also remember, the more you do this, the more you respect yourself and your own uniqueness, you'll be able to have respect for others. That in order to have the mitzvah to really love other people, you have to love yourself first. To be able to respect and to give that honor to others, you have to have that self-respect and self-esteem first. And we've had that, thank God, in our previous class from Gedalia Fence and other wonderful speakers we put on our network. I do apologize for a little bit slowing down of the content on our sites, but that's why personally I'm keeping going, and I hope it's appreciated out there. Share some love. Come on, guys. You go to a Tony Robbins, the whole energy, we want to hear from the people. It has to be, and he goes, aye, and everyone goes, oh, yeah. Everyone needs to share some of this love while we're online. Thank God. It's an opportunity to fill the online community that we're building here, and it shouldn't just go out to all these other places which, God forbid, are trying to sow a lot of negativity. We're trying to sow a lot of love and unity and truth, as we spoke about last week. And this week we're speaking about respect. I'm happy to hear from you. What would you say that would show more respect, in our daily life? Let's hear back from you guys. Be bold, be courageous, share your message of how do we give over respect to people. I know, for example, we have to respect the Rabbonim, the rabbis that have our blessing and have our bracha and our opportunity and merit, that we have the specialness to have someone like Rav Arush, to show respect to him and to respect to Rav Darnell, God, please God, and respect to all the staff and all the different Rabbonim around, to show respect to Am Yisrael, to the world that deserves respect. You have to respect the man, the human, that the person, the woman that fears God, that has a yira, an awesomeness, as we spoke about. And this week's Parshas Akev has a Parshas Yira. It's to teach us the idea that there's a balance between love and fear. There's a balance between showing compassion and caring and giving, and there's a balance between showing an awesomeness, a oneness, a respect. That avodas Hashem, serving God, has a certain order, and there's halachas, there's rules, how we use our time in the Beis Knesset, in the Beis Midrash, in the temple one day, please God, the third temple that we're praying for. There's rules how to conduct yourself, and that should influence how we respect each other, how we use our mouth, how we use our eyes, how we hear things, how we use our action, like to respect the souls that are put in our Dalet Amos, in our sphere of influence, to respect them, to give them the cover they deserve. A beautiful concept I heard from a holy man called Rav Motel Zilber. I don't know if you heard of him, but he's like a professor in Torah, and he once said, covered the idea of the honor, you should gather it up. Aaron Cohen's power, and I'm a descendant from Aaron Cohen. I'm a Cohen myself, from the priest nation. The idea, the concept of honoring others, bringing them together. The Anana covered, the clouds of glory, was showing an expression of that awe, that light that surrounds people, and to bring them in through honor, through respect, that nobody should be left outside. Everyone should be included. It's an inclusive experience when you're serving God, when you're having your soul level, when you're connecting into the concept of Emuna. It's inclusive and bringing people together, not excluding. And if there is that going on, it's a lack of respect. And we have to, hopefully, in a respectful way, can't just, start shouting at people or put up another Netflix documentary thinking that's going to wake up this group of people. We have to do it in a way that's respectful to all the people involved, respectful to the rules of that place. And it's very important that with that respect will come truth and values that will show in our relationships. For example, in our shalom bias between husband and wife, respect is such an important part of the relationship. To not call each other, God forbid, derogatory names, but to have respectful names, to have a lot of love and connection. Exactly. Someone wrote, thank you. Take care of everyone, be safe, love everyone like you love Hashem. Real respect. Yeah, that is it. So it has to be real, authentic respect. 100%. Thank you from our listeners in Australia. We'd love to come to Australia, and we spoke about this before. But right now it's going to be through the online platforms. Hopefully you'll come here to Yerushalayim. My hope is that we're right near the end of the exile. As Rav Arush was talking about, there's an opportunity right now through praying for each other, respecting each other, giving that beautiful diversity that shows such glory. The glory of God will be revealed through diversity. The glory of our souls will be revealed through us our own self-expression in creativity and music. It's one of the reasons why I'm so involved with musicians, because I see they have such a power to put out music. Nissim just shared to me something right now as we're speaking, and he's just one of the musicians. But Baruch Hashem, there's so many special people, artists, musicians, creatives, and speakers, and each of them have their own message, and we have to respect that. And it's something I'm trying to work on. I want everyone to be successful out there. Maybe they have a bit more polished act or whatever it is. But the point is we have respect for it. And the fact that each person's doing their personal mission and respect that process. And that's the kind of content and energy we need to be involved with. And hopefully, without getting into the negative side of it, where we're just answering up a lot of the problems that are going on out there by constantly focusing on that light and that truth and that foundational wisdom that's within the Torah, that Hashem himself wants us to have that honor and respect. And in Parshas Eikev, you see there's many times you see Vayim Shema, that in the second parsha of the Shema, the idea of reward and punishment, that things aren't unconsequential. There is a consequence, what we do. And we have to realize that the effect we have on people and the sphere of influence around us has a consequence. And it's not whatever. It's totally specific and with divine providence and exactly how it's supposed to be. And that's part of the whole Emuna class that we're building and developing together, that we develop that kind of Emuna, that we speak it out and we live it and we accept that we're exactly where we're meant to be, and the kind of relationships we have, exactly what we need, and the children and the parents and the friendships at work and all the situations, all about respecting the godliness of it. And I would say a lot of the online content is breaking down that respect, and therefore we have to be careful from that. We have to be careful what's out there. We have to sift. We have to do a lot of sifting out there from all the narishkeit, all the stuff that's out there that's showing a lack of respect to the holiness of humanity and the wonderfulness of the world, the Brias Ha'olam, how niflos of Borei, how Hashem created such a wondrous creation. To say and to see how Hashem's, like in the Vayim Shema, in the Parsha, the second Parsha Shema, Hashem brings this rain and brings blessing into the world so that we have everything we need to eat and we have everything we need, and we don't forget Hashem, we don't forget how it's a blessing from God, and we make birkas hamazon, we make blessings before we eat and after we eat. We pick up the lechem and we have respect for the bread, we have respect for the soul. And lechem is 3 times Shem Havaya because it has different levels of the soul that it's feeding, it's nourishing. It's lechem min hashamayim, lechem min haaretz. It's bread from the heavens and bread from the earth. It's a blessing we make. We're hamotzi, we're bringing out the sparks just like we're doing, and we're blessing Hashem for this diversity in creation, for all these different aspects, and everything is specifically made in a certain way that it should come, so we should just make a blessing. That's why Rav Arush, if you understand, is constantly reminding everyone in the back of the little pamphlet, it says Mizmor LaTorah. Colombia, yes, hello, and lots of love to you guys. To understand that the concepts of Mizmor LaTorah, of giving thanks to Hashem, is what we're going to be doing in eternity. We're going to have a constant appreciation for everything, the power, the attitude of gratitude, the energy that it creates of goodness when we have thanks and we give thanks and we're in praise. And that's part of the whole concept of melody and song. Holy melody and song comes from a place of gratitude and appreciation for this godly gift of soul and energy and love towards our Creator and Borei Olam. And that's the key, to tune in to that kind of music, to bring that live. And that's why I personally Greetings from Texas. Yes, we've been to Texas, Houston, Texas, wonderful place. Columbia, back in the day, Rav Arush was there. I haven't had the merit. But the idea that we give thanks in all these places, if you think about everybody's contributing in some way, that the coffee from Colombia and the different ways that the factories around the world and all the different energy that goes into making everything we're wearing and we're eating and we're drinking in the house I'm sitting in, it's all from different places around and around, all the people putting that energy and work into it so we can sit in a house. We have all this technology from all these different places. I've got an iPhone here, a smartphone here, an iPad here, another kind of iPhone, and underneath holding it up, funny enough, I'm using a stand, but also a Strymel cover case. If you sit in my house, you'd see what I've got behind me, beautiful pictures from my wife chosen. Everything's been made by different people. It's all this diversity, but that's part of the beauty of creation. That's the wonders of creation. And then we give thanks, and we have Birkas Hamazon this week's parsha. We thank Hashem. We eat, we're satiated, and we give blessing. That is part of a purpose of what the Jew and the world is here for, is just to give Yehudi, to give thanks, to praise. And someone here asks, how do we find our path, our mission and destiny in life? Yeah, he did reach out privately. Thank you again for putting this publicly, because I think it's a general important question. So we mentioned before at the beginning of the class the idea of learning our soul, learning the concept, the language of the soul more, becoming more soulful and understanding how it communicates to us, listening more internally, not being so pulled out of ourselves externally, to understand also that when we read books and when we're learning to try and internalize it, when we're praying to internalize it, become a more real part of ourselves. And we'll talk about that in our United Souls course, in practical ways, how to internalize. That's the next part of the course. The idea of our path and mission, we spoke about many times, the idea of developing a mission statement, putting it down in writing. That's the idea of writing your own book and your own song. Everyone has their own unique holy mission and their own soul. And to realize one of the beautiful things we brought out in the Relationship Flow podcast, not only was it Divine Providence, we were sitting there with Sarah and hearing my wife speak, but also the idea that the soul can empower and energize the emotional level, that it shouldn't just be a feeling that you have to only have psychologists and therapists, you only have what's down here in this world, but there's a tremendous energy that surrounds us, an internal energy of our soul that can empower us in real ways, and we can dig deeper and deeper into ourselves to draw out that soul message. So for example, what your personal mission is, right? Once again, we mentioned writing it down and begin with end in mind. Know that one day there's going to be, as someone was making a joke this week to me, just brought it up, reminded me, the idea that one day there's going to be a hesped for each of us, and we're all going to have to hear someone's imagining hearing their own hesped, hearing what people would say about them, but it doesn't matter what people say. What would you say about yourself after 120? What did you accomplish? And that's the idea, constantly being thirsty to accomplish and to succeed and to achieve, and to, as we're saying here, putting out content, putting out positive content in the world. Right now we have an online world to connect with people on a united soul level, to remember that we're not just through machines connected, but we're also through souls. Wherever you are listening, on a soul level, there's a certain yichud, a unification going on, that we're all united, to all the way back to all the way the Tzaddikim, like the Baal Shem Tov HaKodesh, and he was very much into revealing this yichud, and he said that that's one of the sodas, the secrets of, people ask about Mashiach, bring out that unification in this world. That is one of the deepest secrets of Mashiach, that there'll be this yichud, the neshama, the level of yichida, of this very deep inner level of the soul. Remember we said once, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yichida. Yichida is the fifth level of the soul, as it brings in the Gemara Brachas and in Pnimius HaTorah, inner level Torah. This yichida is this unification, and Mashiach, his keser, bringing out that unification through all the different aspects, all the way down into our phones, all the way down into our life, all the way down to the Ikvus de Mashiach, the hill steps of Mashiach, the generation we're in now. This unification is coming down through this light of oneness and truth that exists within all of us. And the idea, the most beautiful part is that we're also diverse. And we have respect for that diversity. That it's not going to be suddenly equity. That's shaka. It's a lie. We're not going to be the same. That's God forbid, that's a Holocaust. No, that's how they looked in the Holocaust. They took off Shem Shemenu, all their hair and all their uniqueness, and they declothed them from all their expression and creativity and soul, and it made them into these like skeleton kind people dressed in these rags. And if we keep going in this path of equity, God forbid, that's where they're heading, to this disgusting Holocaust that was many years ago. That's the direction where it will go. Or like the communist regimes in the past. I don't want to get political, but that's where they go. They go towards destruction. We have to go towards uniqueness and diversity and oneness. And the idea that there's a value system of how to respect each other. It doesn't just come, we have to rewrite a new way of respect and come up with a new system of understanding and break all the old. We have to go deep into the truth of creation and to bring out the truth of the soul, the truth of the wisdom of the neshama, and the reality that we're all united on a soul level and we all have a connection in a unique way, in a diverse way, in a wondrous way, and God is able to make sense of it all, to not push the key to the game. God, how can anyone get rid of Emuna in Hashem? Without that, the 12 steps wouldn't work. No one would be able to recover from any addictions. So that's already a massive pounding on all the atheistic mindsets out there. There has to be a higher power helping us. We're lacking strength. I'm sorry I'm going on much longer today, but it's obviously something people need to remind themselves, that we need a godly force helping us. We need Hashem himself to help us. Hashem Echad. I was holding the Torah. Who gave me the strength? Hashem. And what was it saying? Hashem Echad. I was above my head. Hashem's going to give me the strength to do what I need to do. He's going to give us all the emotional strength. To give us the Gavoira and the Pachad in a good way. And the Simchasi B'toch Yerosi, as it says in the Heilige Tani de Be'eliyahu, that Hashem's going to give us the power to rejoice in the fear, in the year, in the awesomeness, in the oneness. He's going to give us the power to Simchasi. I will rejoice in Yerosi, in his awesome power and strength. Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of goodness, a lot of power within all of us to be able to express ourselves on a daily level. And everyone has the ability in a unique way. And with this energy, we'll be able to go into the new month, Ani L'Dovi Dodili, become one with our beloved. And please God, we'll take that into the new year, Tafshin Pei Base, a new year of bracha. It should be, last year was Ela Aleph is the idea of Pella. It was Peladik year. It was a wondrous year, but a year that not everyone was able to see the wonders, but there were wonders going on the whole time. And this year is going to be a year of brocha. Tafshin Pei Base, the mouth is going to speak with brocha, with blessing. And that's the key, to just bring down that blessing like we're doing Birkas Hamazon, bring down that blessing in all our things, elevate everything with blessing and thanks. And it will be a different world when we come out of this year, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. It will be a world of blessing and not a world, God forbid, of curse. So please, God, everyone, take these messages with you. Write your song, write your unique mission, bring it out more in your daily life. And please, God, we'll enjoy the rest of this like little Beinazman time holiday. And hopefully they'll put out another Gevaldika class with Rav Arush on Sunday. You'll join us with a special guest. Keep joining us. Keep sharing the content. We put up a lot this year, so there's a lot to internalize. It doesn't have to just be pounding on new ones. It's also about internalization of what we've already done. And join me for my Unity Souls class. You can sign up below. And please, God, you can also keep sharing all our wonderful content, our blogs and our audio platforms. It's growing, please, God, and it's needed. It's not something which is, I'm just sitting here by myself in the room talking to myself. I'm talking to you guys for a reason, and you're here listening. Listen to the full class, share it. Hopefully you've made it to this point. Share it onwards. And please, God, we'll see how our life will be filled with blessing, and all our friends and family and sphere of influence will be filled with blessing. And please, God, we'll have that diverse respect that's needed to bring the Geula Shlema of Mehevi Menu Amen. Thank you for listening. All the best. Keep sharing on with lots of love. Thank you.